Now that you've walked the farm,
Mm-hmm.
you've learned how to plant a plant, so
Yeah.
what are your thoughts?
Can I move here? Did you know you can grow amazing coffee in California? We're heading an hour and a half north of Los Angeles to Goodland Organics in Goleta to learn about their farm and see some of the rare plants they grow, including their specialty coffee. We're going to learn how to brew the perfect cup and try some of the world's most prized coffee, Geisha coffee. Prepared by the grower and CEO of Frinj Coffee, Jay Ruskey, with help from his trusty dog Tejo. The farm is a gorgeous example of layered agriculture with an ocean view, but that'll have to wait until next week. This week is about the coffee experience. Thanks so much for having us.
Well, it's nice to have you here, Sarah. And I always like to start off when people visit the farm with a cup of coffee. And I like brewing outside. I like to brew with the pour over because we can smell everything and get all the experience of the coffee. After that, I think we will go and I'm going to show you about how we plant coffee, and then we'll take a walk in the field.
Okay.
And we can try all the fruits and see the layered systems and see why we do what we do and how we build a more layered food system in Southern California. This coffee actually is a first for me. This is the end of a 2020 crop. And so this is a Geisha coffee, and it's really unique and one of the big drivers for the super specialty market that we're doing here in California. It's also part of the breeding program that we have at Frinj Coffee. Geisha is really unique. It's came from Ethiopia to Panama to California and didn't go through a lot of breeding, so it's rather wild and gamey. And so, but it has a really unique flavor that is like no other coffee experience.
Amazing. I've heard so much about it, but I don't think I've ever tasted any, so this is going to be a big moment.
Do you want to learn my ingredients and my technique as we go?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Give us your secrets.
Okay. Like 14-to-1 ratio.
Okay. Wow.
Okay, so here we go. So we pre-wet our coffee first.
Okay.
And the important thing to do that is because the coffee grounds were heated as high as like 365 degrees. And so they don't necessarily want to take water, kind of like a desert after a summer and they get rain.
Right.
So we pre-wet, and we wanted to extract. It's all about extraction of the sugars. And so then what I do is we pour this, and this is called the bloom. And it's called the bloom because of all the CO2 gases that are released. One of the things that a lot of people don't know about the coffee is freshness can be determined here, and the freshness after roast. You'll notice after about 2 to 3 weeks, you won't get this bloom anymore. It loses all of its CO2 gases.
Well, I definitely have heard that you're supposed to grind fresh. So.
Yeah. Grinding is actually, grinding science is just, it's like, I mean, it's like soil, you know, you got to get your tilth right.
Yeah.
So that your plants can grow and the roots can go in, especially when you plant seeds, you want the right tilth of soil. It's the same thing with coffee. We're just trying to get that right texture so that the water can be held just enough to get to pull the sugars out and then released through the cup of coffee.
Amazing. Yeah, we were just talking about planting seeds on the channel a couple weeks ago, and you know, it is a big deal. You can't have a big stick in there when you're planting a seed. It's a problem.
Yeah, because your roots will actually turn left or right. They're pretty smart, and they're trying to get around them. But then you get a crooked root, which will disrupt the ability for that root to grab water and nutrition and build it and bring it up to the plant.
There you go.
I saw that episode.
This is really nice. You really have to have the patience to do this pour over method, but I think it's probably the chicest way to brew coffee these days.
It can't, yeah, and there's all these different types of brew methods and different techniques, and after you brew your coffee that you like, and you may find like this coffee it's a little too light or a little too dark for my taste, you just adjust it. This is the starting point that I like to do. And then with the Geisha or the Lorena, which is another coffee I'll show you, we like to go a little lighter, meaning that you have a higher ratio, and because there's some floral components that you don't get out of most coffees, that you need to take it a little lighter and Extraction rates are being studied right now again.
Yeah.
UC Davis doing a lot of work on what is, like, how do you brew in terms of temperature and time to get certain florals or to get sourness or sweetness out. So I always pre-wet the glasses.
Okay.
And then we'll put that there, and then we're going to serve coffee for you.
That was about wetting, not about temperature.
Yes.
Okay.
That actually, no, I like to put, if the cups are cool, and I want to heat them up a little bit so that the coffee cools a little bit slower.
Gotcha.
But the one good thing about good coffee is it cools nicely.
Okay.
So as coffee, if there's defects or problems with coffee, as the temperature drops, they really show themselves.
Yeah.
And so that's why when cuppers and when we evaluate coffees, we do it blindly, and we do it over a course of like 10 minutes once you do the brew, so you can see how coffee changes over time.
Okay. I actually have been part of some cupping.
Really?
Yes, I've done a little bit. I've come in and I've always kind of been like, come on, guys, you couldn't have like told me earlier when it was warm. But this was the point, I guess.
True.
Okay.
So did you learn how to slurp?
Yeah, and I'm always embarrassed about that. But
Yeah, especially on camera.
Yeah.
Right? So
Okay,
grab
shall I?
yourself a,
Okay, thanks. All right.
we'll offer your crew coffee too. I know, I can
Yeah.
see he's just getting
You're
all
looking
excited.
jealous behind
I know.
camera right now. Okay, so let's get a demonstration from you first.
Oh.
And then...
Well, here I always smell it first,
Okay.
right? Like if it's hot and there's steam, and it's part of the full sensory experience.
I didn't hear you slurp, so
I couldn't slurp on camera. Here,
Wow, that's
I'll
good.
take a second take.
Okay, there we go.
Ah, that's an aspiration.
Wow, that is really, really interesting. There's like definitely a lot of acidity, a lot of fruitiness to this. Does it like wine? Do you also describe it like, oh, that has overtones of blueberries and things like that?
Oh yeah, so there's actually twice as much complexity into coffees than wine. So yeah, but we talk the same way. You talk about like a little bit floral, so that's why you smell it to see if you can get any of those like jasmine, orange blossom on the front, and then you get that sweetness. There's a little bit of a tea.
Yeah, for sure, tea.
Right? Boy, John, this is really good cup of coffee.
John, here, tap some coffee.
Here.
And this is the star. The Geisha.
Well, the Geisha is like the star of the super specialty market. And it grows like a traditional coffee, which is long and lanky. And it has these internodes, so you have fruit, internode, fruit, these clusters, where like the Catur is a solid cluster. And so that's pretty distinctive. But the most distinctive part about the Geisha is the fruit itself will actually taste like grilled mangoes. And but when you drink the cup, like we had earlier, it has that flavor that's more floral and black tea and a lemony finish. So it's really one of the most fascinating trees to grow in the coffee kingdom.
Yeah, I mean, it was delicious. We started our day like that, and it really got me off and running.
Yes, it did. So the Geisha, and that's part of our breeding program to make it stronger and more adaptable to the California farming system.
Amazing. Thank you so much for showing us all these today.
My pleasure.
Be sure to come back for a tour of the farm and step-by-step expert instructions on how to plant and care for a coffee tree. Bye!